Relationships have a profound impact on our lives, often more than we realize. When relationships turn toxic or consistently fail to align with our virtues, they can significantly impede our pursuit of a fulfilling and tranquil life. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches us the importance of living in accordance with virtue and maintaining our peace of mind. But how can we know when a relationship is no longer conducive to this goal? How do we decide when it's time to walk away? In this discussion, we'll explore 10 signs, based on Stoic principles, that indicate it may be time to cut ties with someone. Stoicism isn't about enduring hardships for their own sake. Rather, it's about recognizing what is truly beneficial for our moral development and inner tranquility. Each interaction is an opportunity to practice virtues like wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. But sometimes, we must acknowledge that a particular relationship is no longer serving us, and perhaps even harming us. In this journey, we'll delve deeply into each of these 10 signs, providing tools to help you assess your relationships through a Stoic lens. By the end, you will have gained not only insights into how to approach these challenging decisions, but also a more profound understanding of what it means to live a good life, according to Stoicism. It is essential to watch until the end, as every section unfolds principles that build upon each other, offering a holistic view of Stoic wisdom applied to interpersonal relationships. 1. Persistent selfish behavior. Healthy relationships, according to Stoicism, are based on mutual benefit and reciprocity. They should encourage the practice of virtues and contribute positively to our moral and personal development. However, when one person consistently prioritizes their own needs at the expense of the other, it disrupts the balance that is necessary for a just and harmonious relationship. This imbalance not only erodes the quality of the relationship, but also goes against the Stoic ideal of living a life based on fairness and justice. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where your needs seem to come last, no matter how much effort you put into maintaining the relationship? When selfish behavior becomes a persistent pattern, it is no longer a matter of occasional oversight, but a fundamental issue that demands your attention. Stoicism teaches us to recognize when the cost of a relationship outweighs its benefits, not in terms of material gain, but in the depletion of your inner resources, your energy, peace of mind, and moral integrity. Ask yourself, is this relationship helping me grow, or is it constantly taking from me without replenishing anything in return? In Stoic thought, virtue lies in balance and self-control. A relationship in which selfishness is a recurring theme becomes a breeding ground for resentment, dissatisfaction, and even bitterness. These emotions can cloud our ability to act with reason and integrity, leading us away from the Stoic path of tranquility. Reflect on your relationships. Do you frequently feel drained after being around this person? Is there a noticeable lack of reciprocity? If you find yourself in a situation where your efforts to restore balance and encourage a more generous spirit within the relationship are met with indifference or resistance, it may be time to accept that the situation is beyond your control. In such cases, walking away is not an act of defeat, but one of wisdom and self-respect. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond. If persistent, selfish behavior disrupts your ability to live virtuously, then removing yourself from the relationship becomes a rational and courageous choice. Remember, every decision should aim to preserve your tranquility and align with your highest values. This is not only about protecting your well-being, but also about upholding the principles that guide your life. Next, we'll examine another critical sign that may indicate the need to reassess your relationships: a lack of trust. How does the absence of trust impact the Stoic practice of virtue and inner peace? 2. Lack of trust. Trust is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. Without it, the foundation becomes unstable, creating an environment filled with doubt, suspicion, and insecurity. In the context of Stoicism, trust aligns closely with the virtue of justice, which emphasizes honesty, reliability, and treating others fairly. When trust is missing, it disrupts the harmonious balance that should exist between individuals, making it difficult to foster genuine intimacy and connection. Have you ever felt uneasy or doubtful about someone's words or actions? Do you often find yourself questioning their sincerity or reliability? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus emphasized the importance of living in accordance with one's values and being dependable, not just for the sake of others, but because it fosters a life of integrity and self-respect. When a relationship lacks trust, it contradicts this Stoic principle and forces us to live in a state of constant vigilance, guarding against potential betrayal rather than experiencing the peace of mind that comes from mutual understanding. Consider this. If a relationship requires you to be continuously on guard, is it truly a relationship worth preserving? The effort to rebuild trust is indeed worthwhile, but when repeated attempts fail, one must recognize the limits of what can be achieved. Stoicism teaches that while we may wish for harmony in our relationships, we must also acknowledge when circumstances are beyond our control. When facing such situations, you may find that the wisest course of action is to step back, not out of resentment or anger, but out of a commitment to living a life that prioritizes tranquility and virtue. In your journey to live in alignment with Stoic ideals, you may encounter difficult decisions. Distancing yourself from relationships where trust cannot be restored is a step toward maintaining your inner balance and ensuring that your associations support your path of personal and moral development. Next, we will explore how manipulation disrupts the Stoic pursuit of living a reasoned and virtuous life. 3. Manipulation. Manipulation is a form of distortion, an alteration of reality that serves the manipulator's interests at the expense of the other person. It is a behavior that directly opposes Stoic principles, which emphasize authenticity, clarity, and rational judgment. In relationships, manipulation can manifest in various ways, from overt deceit to subtle forms like guilt-tripping or gaslighting, where your perceptions or memories are questioned. Do you feel as though your decisions are being influenced in ways that do not align with your true values? Are you frequently left doubting your own judgment or sense of reality? For the Stoic, these are significant concerns, as they interfere with one's ability to live in accordance with reason. Stoicism teaches us to see things as they are, free from the distortions created by our own desires or external influences. When someone manipulates you, they are imposing their will upon your perception, making it challenging to make rational decisions that align with virtue. Reflect on your relationships. Are there instances where you feel pressured to act against your better judgment? Does someone consistently push you into decisions that make you uncomfortable? Recognizing manipulation for what it is, a deviation from honesty and respect, allows you to take appropriate action. The Stoic response is not one of anger or impulsivity, but a reasoned decision to establish clear boundaries or distance oneself from the source of manipulation. Remember, maintaining your autonomy is a fundamental aspect of living a virtuous life. It is not merely about resisting external pressures, but about affirming your commitment to your own values. By freeing yourself from manipulative relationships, you realign with the Stoic goal of living truthfully and authentically, thus enabling clearer thinking and better decision-making. Next, we will discuss how the negative effects of a relationship on your mental health can be a signal to reassess its place in your life. 4. Negative effects on mental health. Stoicism teaches us to cultivate an inner tranquility that remains undisturbed by external circumstances. While it acknowledges that we cannot control everything that happens to us, It also encourages us to manage our emotional responses wisely. If a relationship consistently disrupts your mental peace, triggering anxiety, stress, or feelings of inadequacy, it may be causing more harm than good. Have you ever noticed how your mood changes after spending time with a certain person? Do you frequently feel anxious, drained, or unhappy in their presence? The Stoics would advise that such emotions are signals, prompting you to examine the impact this person has on your life. While Stoicism advocates enduring difficulties with courage, it does not suggest that one should remain in situations that are fundamentally detrimental to well-being. How can you tell if it is time to distance yourself from a relationship that negatively impacts your mental health? Start by reflecting on whether the relationship supports your pursuit of tranquility and virtuous living. If it continually challenges your peace of mind, without offering opportunities for growth or positive change, then the most rational action may be to let go. By choosing to step away from relationships that sap your emotional energy, you are not avoiding adversity. Rather, you are making a strategic decision to preserve your well-being. In Stoic thought, this approach is about taking responsibility for your inner state and creating an environment that fosters resilience and personal growth. In the next section, we will explore how destructive communication patterns can corrode the foundation of a healthy relationship and what Stoicism has to say about addressing this issue. 5. Destructive communication. Communication is not only about exchanging words, but also about connecting with others in ways that foster mutual respect, understanding, and growth. According to Stoicism, how we speak to others is a reflection of our virtues, or lack thereof. If a relationship is characterized by persistent negative communication patterns, such as criticism, sarcasm, belittling, or hostility, it becomes an obstacle to practicing the Stoic virtues of justice and kindness. This kind of communication corrodes the trust and respect that are essential to any healthy relationship. Do you find yourself dreading conversations with this person because you know they will turn into arguments filled with negativity or hurtful remarks? Do you notice that discussions often end in frustration rather than resolution? Stoicism encourages us to maintain emotional composure and engage in constructive dialogue. Yet, when communication is consistently destructive, it doesn't just cause immediate emotional harm. It also fundamentally alters the dynamics of the relationship, undermining its foundation over time. Reflect on your own communication habits and those of the person you are in the relationship with. Are words being used as weapons, or are they tools for building each other up? Stoicism teaches us that our words should be chosen with care, reflecting our commitment to living virtuously. This means striving to speak with honesty, but also with compassion, and addressing disagreements with the aim of finding solutions rather than simply winning the argument. If the communication in a relationship has devolved into patterns of hurtful exchanges, it may be time to set boundaries or step back. Consider, have your efforts to change these patterns or seek improvement been met with genuine understanding, or are they dismissed or ignored? Sometimes, despite our best efforts, the communication dynamics remain toxic, eroding our inner tranquility. In such cases, distancing yourself may be the most rational course of action to preserve your mental peace and integrity. Moving forward, we will discuss the next sign, feeling constantly drained, and how this state of exhaustion indicates a misalignment with the principles of Stoicism. 6. Feeling constantly drained. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on using our energy wisely. Our internal resources, our focus, emotions, and even our physical well-being are not limitless and should be preserved for endeavors that support our pursuit of virtue and fulfillment. When a relationship leaves you feeling drained, exhausted, or depleted after each interaction, it suggests that the exchange of energy is imbalanced and unsustainable. Have you noticed that certain relationships leave you feeling empty or worn out, while others lift your spirits and motivate you to be your best self. This difference is not trivial. It indicates whether a relationship is nurturing or whether it saps the vitality you need to live a productive and meaningful life. According to Stoic philosophy, it is important to maintain relationships that are supportive and reciprocal, where there is a balance between giving and receiving. Why do some interactions leave us feeling drained? The reasons can vary. Perhaps the other person is constantly negative, demands excessive emotional support, or engages in one-sided conversations that lack mutual engagement. It could also be a matter of values. If you find yourself constantly compromising your principles or feeling pressured to act in ways that don't align with your Stoic ideals, it can lead to emotional fatigue. Reflect. Is the effort you put into this relationship met with the same level of commitment and support? Are you sacrificing your well-being to keep the peace, or to meet the demands of someone who rarely considers your needs? If you consistently feel that the relationship takes more from you than it gives, it is wise to reassess its role in your life. Stoicism teaches us to be cautious with our energy, using it in ways that are aligned with our values and contribute to our growth. The decision to distance yourself from someone who constantly drains you is not about being selfish. Rather, it is a step towards self-preservation, ensuring that you have the resources to live according to your principles. By doing so, you open up space for more enriching relationships that energize and support you. Next, we will explore the problem of misaligned values and how this can cause continuous inner conflict, which contradicts the Stoic pursuit of harmony. 7. Misaligned values. Our core beliefs and values serve as the compass that guides us through life. They shape our decisions, our behaviors, and ultimately, our character. In the realm of Stoicism, living in accordance with one's values is essential for achieving a life of tranquility and virtue. But what happens when those values clash with those of someone close to us? When the principles we hold dear are consistently at odds with those of the other person, it can create significant internal conflict and discomfort. Have you ever experienced a situation where you felt compelled to compromise your values to maintain harmony in a relationship? Perhaps you value honesty, but the other person tends to manipulate the truth for convenience. Or you prioritize kindness, but they exhibit frequent hostility or judgmental behavior. Such misalignments challenge our ability to maintain peace of mind and may even force us to act in ways that contradict our moral standards. Stoicism encourages us to live authentically, true to our own principles. This means that when our values are misaligned with those of someone close to us, it can be an obstacle to living a virtuous life. For example, if your core value is generosity, but you are constantly around someone who exhibits greed or selfishness, it may become increasingly difficult to practice your virtues without feeling resentment. This ongoing tension can lead to a sense of dissatisfaction and can even erode your commitment to your own values over time. The question arises, how wide is the gap between your values and those of the other person? Can it be bridged, or is the conflict too fundamental? In some cases, open communication can help align perspectives and create a shared understanding. But when the differences are too great, it may be wise to step away from the relationship, not as an act of judgment, but as an acknowledgement that the relationship does not support your higher purpose. In the next section, we'll discuss how the disregard for personal needs and boundaries can signal a lack of respect in a relationship, and what Stoicism has to say about protecting one's integrity in such situations. 8. Disregard for personal needs. In Stoicism, the respect for personal needs and boundaries is fundamental to maintaining a life of dignity and harmony. When someone consistently disregards your boundaries, trivializes your needs, or fails to show respect for your preferences, it is a clear signal that the relationship is not balanced. Such behaviors erode the mutual respect and trust necessary for any healthy connection, leading to significant dissatisfaction and inner turmoil. Do you feel that your needs are frequently overlooked or dismissed? Are your boundaries respected, or are they continually tested and breached? Stoicism teaches that self-respect is a cornerstone of virtuous living, and it starts with acknowledging and affirming your own needs. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness, but an act of self-preservation, ensuring that your relationships do not compromise your moral and emotional well-being. When boundaries are consistently crossed, it is not only an issue of disrespect, but also a challenge to your autonomy. Consider whether you have communicated your needs clearly and whether the other person is willing to recognize and honor them. If the disregard for your needs persists despite your efforts to set boundaries, it may be necessary to reconsider the role of the relationship in your life. In such cases, walking away is not an act of abandonment. It is a rational choice to prioritize your own well-being. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of surrounding oneself with people who contribute positively to one's life. If a relationship continuously undermines your peace of mind, it is wise to seek out those who respect your needs and support your path toward virtue. Next, we will look at the issue of abuse in relationships and why Stoicism unequivocally condemns any form of harmful behavior. 9. Abuse of any kind. Stoicism unequivocally condemns abuse, whether it is physical, emotional, or verbal. Such behaviors are incompatible with the Stoic commitment to treating all human beings with inherent worth and dignity. Abuse fundamentally violates the principles of justice and respect, which are central to Stoic philosophy. For a Stoic, enduring abuse is never a requirement. Instead, the priority is to maintain one's self-respect and protect one's well-being. Have you ever felt that you are enduring harmful treatment in the name of keeping a relationship intact? Are you constantly exposed to behaviors that demean or harm you? The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius spoke of maintaining one's inner citadel, a place within oneself that remains untouched by external misfortunes. This inner strength should not be confused with passivity in the face of abuse. Rather, it involves the courage to act wisely and to distance oneself from situations that are harmful. When faced with abuse, it is crucial to take immediate steps to protect oneself. This may involve seeking support from friends, family, or professionals who can provide guidance and assistance. The Stoic approach to dealing with abuse is not about retaliation or harboring negative emotions, but about making a rational decision to ensure safety and preserve one's dignity. Ask yourself, are you valuing your own worth, or are you allowing abusive behavior to diminish your self-respect? Stoicism teaches that we must act with courage in the face of adversity, and this often means taking difficult but necessary actions to protect our integrity. Walking away from abuse is not an act of weakness. It is a powerful affirmation of your own value and a commitment to living in accordance with your highest principles. Lastly, we will discuss the absence of mutual accountability in relationships and how this can destabilize the foundation of trust, respect, and harmony that Stoicism values. 10. Absence of mutual accountability. Mutual accountability is not only beneficial in relationships, it is essential. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of being accountable for one's actions as a fundamental virtue. This involves acknowledging when one's actions have harmed another and making amends whenever possible. When mutual accountability is lacking, it leads to misunderstandings, resentments, and a breakdown in the foundation of trust and respect. Do you find that one person is always blamed while the other refuses to take responsibility for their actions? Are apologies made sincerely, or do they come with excuses and justifications? Stoicism teaches that every individual must reflect on their behavior and be willing to hold themselves accountable. This practice is not just for the sake of the other person, but also for one's own moral growth. When accountability is one-sided, the relationship becomes unbalanced. Reflect on whether efforts to foster a culture of mutual responsibility are reciprocated. Are you both working together to resolve conflicts and improve the relationship? Or does one person continue to shift the blame? If genuine attempts to establish mutual accountability are met with resistance or fail to bring about change, it may be wise to reassess the relationship's viability. Walking away from relationships that lack mutual accountability is not a failure. It is a choice to maintain your integrity. It reflects a commitment to Stoic principles, which prioritize personal growth and the pursuit of a life aligned with virtue. By seeking relationships that honor mutual respect and responsibility, you create a more stable and fulfilling foundation for personal and ethical development. In the journey to live a life aligned with Stoic principles, it is essential to surround yourself with relationships that support your pursuit of virtue, tranquility, and personal growth. Recognizing when a relationship no longer serves you, or even harms you, is not an easy decision, but it is a necessary one to ensure your life remains harmonious and true to your values. Stoicism teaches that our relationships are not just social connections, but reflections of our commitment to living a good life. If you found these insights valuable, please take a moment to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and experiences with relationships. How have you navigated difficult decisions when it comes to ending harmful relationships? We encourage you to engage in this discussion, as sharing perspectives can help others on their journey as well. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more content on Stoicism and personal growth, and share this video with anyone who may benefit from these Stoic insights. We are grateful for your support, and we wish you a life filled with peace, virtue, and meaningful connections.